Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sasquatch Watch Radio with your hosts, Billy Willard and the Blog Squatcher. Strap in, hold on tight, get ready, because it is about to go down.
Everyone, welcome to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is October 13th, 2008. We've got a wonderful couple of guests lined up tonight, but before we get to those guests, I'm going to welcome my great co-host, the infamous, famous Blog Squatcher.
I don't know how those two words actually apply to me.
I had to put you on the spot, man.
Right. Well, listen, I have got some news for today. You interested in hearing some news?
Let's hear
Well, first I should ask, how are you doing, Billy?
I am doing just fine.
All right.
Just wasn't sure if I was going to be here, as I called you earlier tonight, because my wife, they think, has pneumonia. And she went to the hospital for x-rays, and she's back, but they're looking at the results, and they said that if it looks bad, they're going to call her and tell her to come back to the hospital. So we'll see what happens.
But so far, so good.
So far, so good.
Right.
So what do you have?
Well, I've got a few pieces of information here that might be interesting. The first one is, one of our first shows, I mentioned on air that somebody from northern India had a few hairs they'd collected that they thought had come from what they call the Mande Barung, and I may not be pronouncing that right, but that's how it reads, Mande Barung, and that, which is the Indian, and I mean the from India, Indian version of a Bigfoot. They thought these hairs were from the Bigfoot, and they were very excited about them. A man by the name of, see if I can find his name here, Deepu Marak, who's a Bigfoot researcher or a Mande Barung researcher in India. He was so excited about them, he sent the hairs over to the U.S. to have them tested. And they already had given them a visual test, and they said they didn't match any animal that's supposed to be in that area. Well, they've come back now as goat, as a certain kind of mountain goat that really shouldn't be down where they found the hairs, but it is indeed mountain goat and not Mande Barung hair.
Right.
So sort of a sad but not so unexpected ending to another one of these things. You remember it wasn't too long ago there was somebody from Canada who had some hairs, and he was just sure it came from a Bigfoot he had seen jumping over a section of fence, but that turned out to be bison hair.
Yep.
So unless Bigfoot is somehow related to bison and goats, which I've actually seen an article that argues that, but it's just making fun of us when it does that. No, we've come up empty once again. So that's the first little bit of news. But the second little bit of news is, I don't know, maybe you'll think this is interesting. You remember that Bigfoot body in a freezer thing? How could we forget, right?
Oh,
well, they put that up for sale on eBay. It's still got 3 days and 3 hours left on it, and it's already up to $89,100. Believe it or not.
eBay, I told you to quit bidding on the darn thing. I wish you would just
Well, for a long time, now I've kept up with this. For a long time, it was just two bidders bidding back and forth, and I thought to myself, well, that's just, the guy who put it up there trying to bid it up and getting somebody excited about it. But the last day or two, there have been a few other bids that have jumped in there, and it is all the way up to $89,100. But get this, the reserve has not yet been met. And if you've ever bid on eBay, if you haven't passed the reserve, even if you win, you don't get it because they're expecting more money than that. So I don't know how they were expecting more than $89,000, but they were. And they may get it. They've got 3 days left to go.
Oh, my goodness. I tell you, the drama just goes on.
Yeah, well, you know what? This isn't just drama. If they actually do pull this off and get this kind of money, you can guarantee that it will happen again. Because the person won't be thinking about how they can fool us. They'll be thinking about how they can sell the thing on eBay for, I don't know, around $100,000.
Well, I guess it's no different than selling a cornflake that looks like Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
I guess it's all one and the same. All right, well, let's welcome our wonderful guests. We have, first of all, let's welcome Mr. Craig Woolheater from Texas. How you doing tonight, Craig?
Oh, Billy, I'm doing fine. How you guys doing?
I'm doing just fine. How about you tell everybody what you're eating right now?
What I'm eating? I'm not eating anything.
Come on, that ain't what you told me earlier.
Told you earlier.
You told me you eat some pancakes, man.
Oh, eating some pancakes, extra syrup. I'm eating pancakes, extra syrup.
There you go. And how about you, Monica? Monica Rawlins, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Billy. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So I know you folks have a lot of information, some things to tell us about this conference. I've looked over your notice that you had updated the website, and you've actually got some info on there about what each of the speakers are discussing. So we'll let you kind of get into that, whoever wants to start off.
Oh, I think Monica can handle that. She's our PR person.
Oh, I think Craig likes to talk. I think I'll let Craig take that one on first.
Well, as everybody probably knows, the big news is that Peter Byrne has been injured while out bigfooting and has basically, I guess, pulled up lame, as it were, and will be not able to attend. Oh, and Belle didn't come here to hear me? Well, I guess that seals it right there. I'll finish my sentence and Monica can take over. But yeah, Peter's got hurt out bigfooting up in the Siskiyous. He took a tumble down a cliff and got hurt, injured his leg, not able to fly. And so even though it was short notice, we got Jeff Meldrum to fill in. He's going to come talk about his trip to China and researching the Yeren there. And so we've got that along with all of the other people that were going to be there, Kathy Strain and Rick Knoll and Henner Fehrenbach and, Alton Higgins, Darrell Collier, Dana Holyfield from Louisiana. We got David Polides and Harvey Pratt.
And it's going to be emceed by
Brian Brown, better known as Diptoe from Bigfoot Forums. He'll also be moderating a panel discussion with all the speakers at the end of the day. Great
lineup. Well, that's a shame about Peter. I don't know how many folks were lined up to see Peter, but
that's what she said, right, Billy?
I've never met the man, and I'd love to meet him one of these days. But I wish I could even come to your conference. I just can't make it this year. Well, if you
start driving now, you should get here in plenty of time.
Well, the gas prices are coming down. So.
Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, Alton Higgins let us know last week in Oklahoma City, gas was down to $2.33 a gallon.
Wow, that's way better than here.
That's way better than Dallas too.
I mean, I feel like driving up there and just siphoning out my gas on the ground and filling up with $2.33 gas. It's so cheap.
So far, the lowest I've found around here is $2.89, and that's a little up in an area called Woodbridge, Virginia. That's the cheapest I've found so far.
Yeah, I saw $2.82 today here in the Arlington area of Texas.
Wow, $2.30, man, that is wow. It's been, what's funny is it's still not cheap. I mean, But after we've been up to almost $4, $4 a count.
Oh yeah, $4. When you've been over $4, anything less than $3 is like a bargain.
That's right.
$2.22 in San Angelo, Mike? No way, really? Man, that's awesome. That's
hey,
what Mike
there,
Smith
see, that's
is.
a little closer for you.
Yeah. He needs to, when he comes up to the conference, maybe you can fill up like a huge tanker truck and hijack it and drive up to Jefferson this weekend, Mike, and sell it to, sell it to everybody. Maybe tack on a little bit.
Yeah, there you go. So what all has been going on in Texas lately?
What has been going on in Texas? Well, we had a little hurricane about a month ago that probably has done who knows what kind of damage to one of our research areas where we have quite a few cameras out. Unfortunately, those cameras are fairly inaccessible, as Monica knows. It's basically a 4-day weekend to go service the cameras down there, and so we have not been able to assemble a team with the conference coming up. Haven't been able to assemble a team to go down there. There's a lot of the areas down there in the Big Thicket are closed right now. While the National Park Service is, determining what kind of damage was done and before they're opening up to the general public. And unfortunately, we still fall under that category of the general public, even though we've got, a permit from them to conduct a camera survey. We still have to follow the guidelines. So we've not gotten a chance to go down there. I think there's talk of next weekend, the weekend after the conference, getting a team down there and trying to see how our cameras are down there.
Yeah, hopefully they're not underwater or off the tree.
Yeah, you hope not. At $600 a pop, you hope they're not underwater.
Yeah.
That would make me a little sick. So, DB, do we have any questions from the chat?
We've got a couple so far. One from a fellow named Froggy Vet. How much and how far do you all think Bigfoot migrate?
How much do I think they migrate? And how
That's part
far?
of the question.
No
Right.
clue. I mean, until we get till you have a transmitter tagged on one, are you going to know how far they migrate, what patterns, if any of that kind of stuff? It's all speculation at this point, and without having one tagged and being able to track it, it's hard to tell.
Well, that reminds me of a question that we got a couple of weeks ago, but we weren't able to ask that guest. There was a hurricane in Florida, and they wanted to know about what would have happened after that hurricane. You just recently had a hurricane, but you haven't. You just talked about how you weren't able to get out into the woods much yet. Have there been any before, and you've been able to get out there, and what do you find when you get out there in places where you were expecting to find possible Bigfoot activity? Do you find more? Do you find less? What do you find when you go in after some big weather event like that?
Well, without actually having a sighting or catching them on one of the cameras, it's hard to know what kind of activity at all there is out there. I tell people that, we have approximately 40 cameras out right now, and in the 4-state region of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, there's 65 million acres of forest land. So if you do the math right there, it tells you we got about one camera per 1.27 million acres. So, odds aren't really good that, we're getting a picture all the time. It's just a long-term project. We're planning to increase the amount of cameras, but, I mean, it's, you're looking for not a needle in a haystack, but, a moving needle in a whole field of hay with just a narrow camera lens looking out. I can tell you there's new cool technology coming out though. Just kind of get off topic a little bit, but last weekend, well, when was it? No, not this past weekend. Weekend before last, I was up. Some of the people in the chat room probably know I was up in the Falk area working on an episode of Monster Quest. I think it's called the Monster of Boggy Creek or the Beast of Boggy Creek or something like that. But we worked on this project for about 10 days. Had a team up in the Ouachita Mountains, up on Oklahoma-Arkansas border, on horseback doing some stuff, and then we had a kayak expedition that was being filmed for Monster Quest that several members of the TBRC and Rick Knoll was there to participate as an expedition member. But they were trying out some new technology, an actual 360-degree camera lens that Rick is working on adapting for game camera use to actually have, a virtual 360-degree lens out there working on the cameras. So he's working on some cool stuff, and you have to use computer software to basically unroll that picture, but you get a 360-degree view with that camera lens.
Very cool. Yeah, those cameras, I can imagine, like you were saying, they're expensive, and like you've got millions upon millions of acres out there. I guess I can see where it's extremely hard to cover everything.
Yeah. But
at least you have them out there, and it's a little more than I can say right now.
Well, even just like these cameras have pretty big memory cards in, and they take I know this. I was looking at a video that we did, and they were videoing while they were checking a camera, and the camera had like almost 5,200 images on it that it had taken in the amount of time it was out there, and it still had room for more images, and it still had I think 13% battery strength on it after already taking 5,200 images.
Wow. Okay, let me. I'm gonna take. We've got some calls on here. I'm gonna go ahead and start taking them. I'm getting ready to take Bill Green's call. Bill, make sure you've got your computer turned down so that we don't get an echo. And Bill Green, you're on the air.
How you doing, Billy and everyone?
Good, Bill. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I just can't believe what those Georgia guys are doing to the Bigfoot community, still trying to sell a thing on eBay.
We done got Bill upset. Here he goes.
It's not upset, Billy and you guys. They're trying. They think they're gonna get away with this stuff. And another thing, I can't believe they're trying to rehire that cop to in Georgia. I mean, this is getting totally ridiculous.
I know, Bill. I know, Bill.
I refuse to get upset about it. Why get upset about it?
Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do. They're going to do what they're going to do, and what the heck.
Yeah, I know. But hey, Craig, did you put any webcams by that recent sighting of that road crossing that was mentioned in your website recently, or actually in BFF it was mentioned too?
Right. No, Bill, we don't have any webcams out there. We did have an investigator that went out on site and checked it out, took some photographs, but did not find any evidence while he was out there.
Yeah, I guess the recent Hanobia festival went great. I guess that was this week or last week or something.
Yeah, I think they had their deal last weekend.
Yeah, I didn't get to go
to
that.
And I saw on Cryptomundo that I guess there were some footprints found in Siberia or something like that. Or
yeah, that was one of the news stories.
Don't know what to think about those. Yeah.
That was one of the news stories that Lauren had covered recently, and I think if you notice in the comments, I think Igor Bortsev had commented quite a bit about those there.
Well,
but there's a lot of news happening about Bigfoot, but Still about the Georgia thing, but those guys are on their way out. I have a feeling that they're gonna get caught on one of the news networks, and it's just like that. After a while, I think the news networks are gonna totally ignore them. And they think that they're gonna try to bruise us again. It's not gonna happen.
I agree, Bill. All right, Bill. Thank you for calling in and asking Craig and Emma questions.
All right, Billy. Have a great show.
All right, buddy.
See you later.
And now we have Henry May on the line.
Well, I think it's time to move on from the Georgia hoax. I'm sorry. It's time to move on.
Well, let's do that.
DB? Damn you, DB! You're the one that started it this time. You got Bill all worked up, and he decided to, to bring it up again. Just kidding.
And then you decided to get worked up, and then you kept bringing it up now.
Oh, right. Well, but still, it is time to move on from it.
I agree.
If people would just ignore it, they would go away.
What do you got?
Anyway,
you got a question for Craig and Monica?
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask them about their camera project pertaining to, do they find it easier to use the digital trail game cams as opposed to the ones where you had to go and take the film out, take it out, and go and get it developed? I know it's a lot easier.
Well, yeah.
Well, then you answered your own question.
If you got 36 exposures on a film camera, those may be used up in one day, and then you've got no film there. Like I said, one of our cameras, when we went and got it, had almost 5,200 images.
Yeah, I got to go through that one. That was fun.
It just takes a little while.
Yeah, nowadays you got those memory cards, man. You can store all kinds of photos.
Yeah, our guys, they have a viewer out there that they, go through and check the images, to make sure that, if there's an image of interest on there, so we can retain it on the memory card, so you have a chain of custody there, which, takes some time to go through the viewer and look through all those images to make sure that you've got something. We're going to, after the conference this year, we make, hopefully, bring in some funds. I'm hoping that we're able to purchase, at least a second set of memory cards for every camera out there, so we can just swap the memory cards out in the field and then bring them back to base camp and go through the memory cards when we have already completed the project. Like I said, we have I think even 4 different areas that we have cameras out, and like I said, in any one area I don't think we have more than about 15 or 16 cameras. But still, like I said, it takes pretty much a full day to service half of those when we're out in the field. They're very inaccessible areas, and like I said, in a pretty good size area to service those. So it takes a good 4-day weekend with a team of probably at least 6 people to go out there.
Oh, I was going to say, if you've got that many out in the field, yeah, it's going to take a lot of time to get, because I'm sure they're not like right on top of each other.
No, it's
not at all.
Monica's made that hike. It's a full day hike to service a handful of cameras.
Right.
Well, how many pictures on average? Can those memory cards hold? I know the one I have for my digital camera holds over 5,000 to 5,100, I should say.
Well, I know they hold more than that because one of the cameras on the last trip had well over 5,000 images, well over.
Wow. And
it still had space left on the card.
Huh. I've got one of those XD cards, those hold a lot of shots.
Yeah, it all depends on how many gigs you got on the card. I know.
Right.
You know, it used to be that 2 gig card used to cost. Remember, it used to cost over $50, $60. Now you can get them for like $20.
Right.
Mhm.
So like I said, even still with 40 or so cameras, you're looking at nearly $1,000 in memory cards.
Oh yeah, easy. Well, thank you, Henry.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. I also wanted to ask. I know that I wanted to add that I wish y'all good luck on the conference this weekend. I know that Jeff Meldrum is sitting in for Peter Byrne since Peter Byrne was injured, and I just had Jeff on my show yesterday, and he did a great job. And I think y'all are going to enjoy his presentation. Well, actually, Craig and Monica, I think y'all heard his presentation on the China trip he took out in California. But your audience will really enjoy that. Will really enjoy that presentation because I got to hear it in Ohio. So that'll be an extra special bonus for those who attend the dinner on Saturday night, and I'll be there in spirit, guys.
We'll have we'll serve up a serving of ramen noodles at the banquet dinner for you, Henry, in honor of you.
I knew that was coming. Oh my Lord, I knew that was coming. Anyway, just good luck on the conference, and like I say, I'll be there in spirit, and sounds like it's going to be a great time for everybody.
Thanks for calling, Henry.
Yeah, thanks, Henry.
No problem, guys. Y'all take care. Bye.
Let me real quickly just mention the number on the air. Anyone who wants to call in and ask Craig or Monica a question, the call-in number is 347-237-5070. Again, it's 347-237-5070. Any questions from the chat, DB?
Well, we had one from Bill Green that he didn't ask himself, so I guess I'll read it to you. He said he wanted Craig to talk about the one that was crossing the road. Craig, do you know what that means?
Yeah, well, that's the one that he and I were talking about. He was asking if we had a webcam out there.
Oh.
I see. So he did ask. I just didn't recognize that he was asking that question. Sorry. Well, that's the last question I saw, so now we're going to have to wing it.
I think our researcher did set a plate of pancakes and syrup out there at that location.
See, now you're guaranteed results if you use pancakes and syrup. I don't know how we don't get that word out.
Either that, maybe ramen noodles.
Ramen and pancakes, hey. It's like chicken and waffles down here, right?
Like chicken and waffles, I guess, huh?
That's right.
For anyone, I see the question, Squatch Biatch just put the question into the chat room, what did I miss? Ramen noodles. So we're going to have to share a really quick story because there's probably some folks that don't know what we're talking about. There was a show where Henry May was on the show, and I believe it was Sasquatch Experience, wasn't it, guys? Was it? I think so. I think that's the show. And during the show, as he was speaking, he spilled hot ramen noodles, right in his lap, and screamed. And we didn't know what had happened. I mean, it sounded like the man was dying. And we've been joking about that ever since because it's on the archives. You can listen to it. It's just hilarious.
It's awesome. And Billy won the contest on my show a few weeks ago.
The case of ramen noodles.
He won the case of ramen. Did you get your case of ramen from Sean, by the way?
You know what? I didn't. I'm going to have to get on him about that.
I think you had to show up in Texas to get it, though.
Oh, I see how it is.
Well, Sean's not showing up in Texas.
Well, if Billy just go pick up JC and Sean and Kelly and just drive on down. Like I said, if you get started now, you can pick everybody up and get here in time.
Oh, that's a long drive.
But you get to see America on the way.
Yeah, that's true. All right, we got to go to a quick commercial break, and as soon as we're done with that, we'll be right back with Craig and Monica, and we'll be back in just a moment, folks. Just stay tuned.
Sasquatch Watch Radio. Stay tuned.
Years ago, most of us were terrified to bank online, fearing people could hack our accounts and view our personal financial information. Yet now, mostly all of us do it and couldn't live without it. It takes time for people to adopt the new technology. That's why I want to tell you about the award-winning product, Go to My PC, because it's as secure, if not more so, than online banking. Go to My PC, brought to you by Citrix, is the easy, secure, and reliable way to remotely access your PC from any internet-connected computer. Everything is protected with a fancy state-of-the-art security features like end-to-end 128-bit encryption, which no matter what, your critical data is protected. See for yourself with this 30-day risk-free trial. Visit gotomypc.com/podcast. That's gotomypc.com/podcast. Fast, easy, secure, go to my PC. All right, that was quick and simple. DB, check in with you, make sure there's been no questions. I don't have any callers at this point.
Well, I've got a question.
Go right for it.
Well, first of all, we assume everybody knows about Craig's own sighting or sightings, but they may not, so we could get him to talk about that. And if Monica has had a sighting, she could talk about that also. And I always want to know, so this is like a third question, what's the weirdest or coolest case you've ever worked on? Give that some thought. See if you can come up with something that the people would like hearing about.
The coolest case I've ever worked on. Well, there's quite a few sightings that are, that we've investigated that have been pretty cool. One that gets talked about a lot is the hog hunter from Panola County that, supposedly saw a Sasquatch attack a hog, kill it, and take it off. But, the most exciting to me is my own personal sighting. I mean, wasn't that anything out of the ordinary, but, it was my own personal experience where I saw something tall, walking on two legs, covered in hair that was walking on two legs that, so it was pretty exciting to me at the time. Of course, it's been quite some time ago, but it's what spurred me on to start the organization and host the conference and all that. So I guess it's a good thing that it happened.
How about you, Monica? Have you had a sighting?
Have I had a sighting? No, I haven't. It's just my curiosity that keeps me going. I believe that it's a possibility that they're out there. I believe in the possibility of it, but, until I see it for myself, I can't say that I'm a believer.
Okay.
Well, I know you've seen a video of one eating pancakes.
Who hasn't? You
what? Come on, you gotta
special
call it
syrup
now.
she put on it. I'm telling you, it's a special syrup.
Oh, yeah, the personal applied syrup?
Yes. She stood there for a good 3.5, 4 minutes, applying that syrup.
But you got to get it just right, or they don't come out of the woods.
I guess that's true, because it sure came up not long afterwards, huh?
So, what? I've never asked you this, Craig. How long has the Texas Bigfoot Conservancy, how long has it been in existence now?
Well, the Conservancy has only been in existence since January of 2007. I co-founded the original organization in June of 1999, and in December of 2006, we decided to absolve the old organization and reform as a 501c3 nonprofit scientific research organization. So basically, it's a new organization, same acronym. The organization as it is now is fairly new. It's a lot of the people that were involved with the prior organization.
Right.
Well, I got a question based on that. If you got something, Billy, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, DB. I can save mine.
All right. Keep that in mind. This is something that I always think whenever I'm, I'll look at something and it'll go like, something going on right in some organization or other, I always think, if only they did it like those boys in Texas do it. Because, when we look at some of the stuff that you guys do, you have so much planning and organization in it that, I feel like more organizations should, follow your example. So could you talk a little bit about how you built up your organization to be as well organized as it is, and how you go about planning some of your expeditions and some of the things that you do when you're out there? Because I think there's a lot that people could learn just from, paying attention to what you guys do.
Well, DB, it's you got to assemble a good team. I mean, not any one person can do it all. You have to, like I said, it was myself and another individual in 1999 that formed the organization. It was just the two of us for quite some time. We put a rudimentary website up, and people started coming to it and wanting to get involved. And over the course of the years, there's been many people that have come and gone that had different, maybe different ideas or lost interest. A lot of people think they're going to get involved with a Bigfoot research organization. They're going to join an organization and they're going to see Bigfoot right off the bat. And I can tell you, my sighting was in 1994. And while I've had been in the area where I think there's been activity going on and have found evidence and found tracks, since that sighting in 1994, I've not had another sighting. So, just being involved with a Bigfoot research organization is not going to guarantee you a sighting. Monica can attest to that. It'll get you in some areas where there's reported activity, following up on recent sighting reports. But as far as where we decide to put our cameras, we use sighting reports that have come into our organization that we've investigated. We also use historical sightings, historical encounters to determine where a good place to put the cameras would be, as well as, topography and terrain to game trails and all kinds of things like that, as far as trying to determine where to place the cameras to hopefully increase our odds to get photographic or video evidence of one of these animals.
Yeah, that's actually a good answer. You got to have a good group of folks who are willing to cooperate and who are not afraid to get out and get their hands dirty. And teamwork means a lot. And it appears that you guys have a good group down there who are willing to do some teamwork. I mean, I think it was I'm trying to remember what show it was I watched where you guys were out doing sound blasting. I can't remember. Was that
The Word Travels?
That's what it was. And I was, I thought that was a good show. And so it was very impressive. So all I can say is hats off, man. You guys are doing a good job. And gals.
Gotta throw that gal in there.
Yep, got to throw that in there. So tell us, Monica, go ahead, just for those that there's still some people coming in, tell everybody when the conference is, and any other interesting information you think they should know.
Well, the conference is going to take place next Saturday on the 18th in Jefferson, Texas. The doors are going to open at 9. Our first speaker, who is Daryl Collier, is going to go on at 10 o'clock. And we've got a really great lineup. Unfortunately, as I'm sure everybody's heard by now, Peter Byrne injured himself and isn't going to be capable of coming to Texas at this point. So we were lucky enough to get Dr. Meldrum to come in and take Peter's spot at the dinner. Dr. Meldrum will be giving his presentation, I believe, on his expedition to China in search of the Yeren, and that's what he's going to be discussing during our catered dinner after the conference. But during conference hours, we do have Dr. Henner Fehrenbach, who's going to be discussing his ideas on Sasquatch behavior. We've got Dana Holyfield, who's going to be discussing her documentary that's out regarding the Honey Island swamp monster. We've got David Paulides, who's going to talk about his book, The Hoopa Project, and his work with the Hoopa Indians up in Northern California. We've also got J. Robert Swain, who's a cartoonist. He's got a little website called laughsquatch.com, and if those of you haven't been there, if anybody hasn't been there, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't because it's really not very well heard of, it is a great comic series. It's based on researchers, and I think that it's really fun. He's not being mean about us. He's having a good time with it, and he approaches it very well. We've got Daryl, who's going to discuss our sightings database. We've got Alton Higgins, who's going to be discussing image analysis, misidentifications, hoaxes, that type of thing. And then Kathy Strain is also going to be coming on for a little bit and discussing her new book that has come out, Giants, Cannibals, and Monsters. So it's always good to listen to Kathy speak. She's so very knowledgeable on the native cultures. And then at the end of the conference itself, about 4:15, I believe, we're going to have a panel discussion with all of the speakers. And I think Rick Knoll, who is actually not a speaker but is going to be there filming for us because he's putting together a little DVD project for us, he's also going to be participating in that panel discussion with Brian Brown. So there's a lot going on next weekend. So I hope that anybody who's in the area and has a chance definitely comes down and checks it out.
And what is a website that they can go to if they want to check that out?
That is www.texasbigfoot.org. And there's conference information. There's a schedule of events as well as registration for anybody who wants to pay before they get there.
All right, very good. Yeah, I would advise anyone who can go to go. I've been told by many folks that have went in the past that you guys always put on a good conference. So definitely advise everyone to go if they can make it.
Well, we work hard at it, so I'm glad that everybody thinks so.
Yeah, everyone I've talked to, everybody I talked to, oh, you need to go to the Texas conference. You have got to go to the Texas conference. So, I mean, a lot of people have always been impressed with the conferences.
But yet you still haven't been and aren't coming this year.
If it wouldn't have been for the Pennsylvania, next year there won't be a PBS.
Next year there's not a PBS, so there best be a huge contingent of East Coast folks coming to Texas.
There you go. And I will, Craig, I'll be there next year.
Okay.
I will be there next year. So you need to line up some real good speakers.
Well,
we do that every year.
I'm just picking on you.
We never disappoint in that arena, I hope.
Monica aims to please.
That's right.
I do.
That's right. DB, any questions?
Yeah, we got a couple more questions here. Long Island Yeti wants Craig to give us the latest on the Forest Vigil project.
Well, we already talked about that quite a bit, about the cameras.
I wondered if that might be the same thing you mentioned where you can't get back out into those woods.
Yeah, we're like I said, down in the big thicket where we were worried about our cameras, they've got a lot of those, what do they call them, Monica? Those, the different areas down there. I can't even think of the word now. In the big thicket.
Different areas?
Yeah, they got the different names of the come on.
Units?
Yeah, is it the different units?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those units are shut down right now because of storm damage from Hurricane Ike. So a lot of those areas we can't even get into. The ones we can get into, we haven't had a chance to get into to check out the condition of the cameras, to see if they're still strapped to trees or if they're underwater or what's going on out there. So we've got, we've probably got, 12 cameras or so down there. And when you multiply that times $600 a pop, we've got a pretty sizable investment down there that we need to get down there and check out.
Very good.
Well, Sasquatch wanted to know if any of the pictures you've ever had were possible Bigfoot photos.
Possible Bigfoot photos. I don't know. We've had some that are indeterminate as far as what they are. Certainly not going to say that we've gotten anything that's Sasquatch related. Like I said, we've got just a handful of cameras in a very large area of wooded land. So we're hoping to increase our cameras, hoping to step up in technology. Like I said, Rick Knoll is is working on a 360-degree camera lens and adapting that for game camera use. I'm sure we'll be working with Rick on testing that out. I did talk to Bill Dringinnis when I was up at the Pennsylvania conference, and need to get back together with him about trying out one of his iGotcha systems down here in Texas, so we're hoping to increase the amount of technology out in the field because the cameras can work 24/7 around the clock in miserable weather conditions, whereas people don't really like to get out there in those conditions so much. So I hope that technology catches up with this animal and we can get some credible video and photographic evidence.
Yeah, me too. It just seems like, the technology keeps getting better. It's almost like these things are just smarter than we are.
Somebody asked what kind of cameras we're using out in the field. The ones we're using now are the Reconyx RC60s is what we're deploying out in the field. And like I said, those are about $600 a piece cameras.
Right.
So, when you want to deploy, we'd like to have as many as we can get, and service. But the number that we're talking about is 100 of those. So if you're looking at $600 cameras, $60,000 worth of cameras plus having to service them all the time, the memory cards, the batteries, the boxes to put them in, even down to chains, padlocks, all the key, all that stuff. It's just, when you start multiplying all that in your head and thinking about it, it's astronomical.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. DB, I thought I saw some more questions.
Oh, yeah. I still got a couple more here. Squatch Biatch wants to know, Craig and Monica, what you think Bigfoot might be. Like, are you going with Gigantopithecus, or where would you line up as far as what it might be, if you have an opinion?
Well, until there's, one of these...
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Until we find one, you can't say what it is. But what do you think it might be?
What do I think? I personally think that it's I don't know that I think that it's Gigantopithecus, or I think that it's an undiscovered primate of some sort. I don't have a personal opinion on whether it's human, whether it's Neanderthal, whether it's Gigantopithecus, Australopithecus,
right,
or whatever. But until one of them is able to be examined, whether it be a roadkill carcass or a hunter that shoots one on purpose accidentally and reports it to somebody, or what, it's going to be impossible to know what it is until there's an actual one to examine. Not that we're out there trying to procure a specimen, but I'm just saying.
Right.
You need to. You got to have one to examine. I mean, I know old Bub's in here talking about, the indigenous North American Aboriginal peoples. That's that's a nice long name to throw out there, and I guess maybe gives you a cool acronym. But until one's examined, you don't know. I mean, you can sit there and speculate on what you think it is, but until one of them's examined, you don't know. In my opinion.
Well, I think there is stuff that you do know, though. You know that unlike the gorilla or the chimpanzee or any other primate that we're familiar with, this thing has stayed hidden. I think it's got to be a little bit smarter than your average ape in order to be able to evade us as well as it has. Well, so, in my opinion, it's got to be, it's either an ape that has somehow evolved intelligence, much more intelligence than any animal ever has, or it's somewhere along the line that humans have evolved along.
Well, DB,
to have the intelligence that it shows.
What you mean by by evades us. I mean, there's people out there every day that claim they've seen these things. But, I mean, there's no concerted scientific, collegiate organization or anything that's out there, funded organization that's out there looking for these things. I mean, I know, Jane Goodall, it took her months and months and months to actually see the chimpanzees that she would later befriend and study. But, I mean, there's not any Sasquatch researchers that are out there that have that kind of funding that can take, make it a full-time job. If there were, we might have some answers a whole lot quicker. But, as it is, people are out there on their weekends when they can have the time, working around their friends, their families, their jobs, their lives, and don't have the time to devote to it that, it's more than likely going to take to try and get, credible evidence that these things are out there. That's my opinion.
Right. Well, you articulated that pretty well. The only thing to add to that is that we do get reports from people who say that they are habituating Bigfoot creatures, and they have rather wild stories that they tell. But these people, they don't come up with any evidence, that they can share with us. So I guess there's really nothing further to be said about that. If they don't have any evidence that they can share with us, then they really haven't done what they say that they've done, at least not to the point where they can prove it to anybody else. And I don't know of anybody who's had results but I do know that there are at least two places where they're trying to do what you just suggested, which is put a researcher out in the field day after day after day to try to habituate in a scientific sense and get closer and get some evidence. And neither of those have borne any fruit that I'm aware of.
Correct. You might have borne some syrup, but no fruit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's I've talked to a few folks. A few folks are satisfied with just that. They're satisfied that they know they're there, they know they exist supposedly, and they're not interested in sharing. I've heard that response as well. So, the only thing we can do is sit back and say, well, it's their word against ours. So if maybe they're seeing something, maybe they're not. We just don't know, But I know down in southwestern Virginia, I've asked a few folks down there because that's where I'm from originally. And when I go down there, a lot of the folks will tell me up front, well, if it was here, and they kind of say that in a funny way when they say it. If it was here, we wouldn't tell you because we don't want. They assume that everybody's out there, with rifles trying to take one out, and they don't want that. A lot of those folks, that's the first thing they say. Well, if it was here, we wouldn't tell you about it anyway because we don't want you a bunch of crazy fools down here trumping through the woods, shooting at everything because these things don't bother us. I've gotten that a couple times down south. So I don't know if you get something similar to that in Texas or not.
Well, the point of the habituators, why do they even tell anybody if they don't, why share it with anybody if they just want it for their own personal experience? There's no point in even saying anything to anybody. Just enjoy the experience, keep your mouth shut, and go on about your life and let them go about their life, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, we've got 5 more minutes, so if anyone wants to call in, you're running out of time. 347-237-5070. How about that? As soon as I said that, a number popped up. Caller from the 717 area code. You're on the air with Sasquatch Watch Radio.
Hey, guys. I really like the show. I had a question about if there's any kind of audio equipment you have that could last long out there in the woods, like you have your digital camera equipment, and maybe if you heard something, that way you could focus in on a certain area to place it.
What do you say, Craig?
Well, some of our researchers use some of the digital equipment. I'm trying to think of the Marantz. I know there's some people. I think Stan Courtney uses that equipment out there in the field too. We have several of those that are used, but still, these are we'll record continuously, but sound files are pretty big. Just to record continuously. There's I know that the ivory-billed woodpecker researchers had some autonomous recorders set up that would record audio and video that were motion activated. But I think these devices were like in the tens of thousands of dollars. With the grants they got out there trying to get more evidence or any evidence of the ivory-billed woodpecker. It'd be nice to have some of that kind of equipment out there, but once again, they're funded by Cornell University, and we're funded by our pockets, and the amount of money that we bring in, holding our annual conference is nowhere near getting us anything like that.
Cool. Is this Froggy Vet?
Yes, sir, it is.
Well, see, I thought you were going to ask a stupid question.
Well, I had some other ones, but I figured that'd be the best question to ask.
That was a good question.
Thank you. Before I hang up, I just want to tell you guys I think you guys do a great job. All you researchers, I got a lot of respect for you. I wish I had the time to do it myself. But I'm going to hang up and listen to the show. Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling.
Isn't Kelly going to call in? Kelly's not going to call in?
Let's see here. Let's see who we got right here. I've got area code 304. You're on the air with Sasquatch Watch Radio. Hello, area code 304. Hello. I'm not getting anything from 304. I'm going to leave you on just in case you are muted or something and you figure out how to unmute your phone. But 304, you're on the air. Did you have anything else, DB, from the chat room?
I think we got one last question, and that was from In Search Of. He wanted to know, what season do you get more of the sightings on average?
Well, that's could be taken a couple ways. What season do we get more sightings reported to us, or what season do more sightings supposedly take place? I haven't crunched the numbers myself. We do have some number crunchers in the organization that I know have put some information together as far as trying to come up with patterns. But myself, I've not studied that very closely, so I couldn't give you a definitive answer.
All right, let me try this phone one more time. Area code 304, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have a friend who does research up in Minnesota. He's retired. He's in the field a few times a week. He's been doing this for months. And he's willing to share his information. We've contacted Don Keating. We've contacted BFRO. Nobody wants to listen to him. Nobody wants to talk to him. They won't watch his videos, nothing. And he doesn't know. He wants to share his information, and he wants somebody to come up there because where he's at, there are a few of them out there, and there is also a family with toddlers and babies.
Well, I'll tell you what, caller. Can you take down my email address?
Yes, let me get a pen. And I can also, in private, could I somehow give you his phone number and email address also?
Yeah, you can actually send that to my email. I'm the only one that gets it.
Okay.
Send it to B as in boy, and then Willard, W-I-L-L-A-R-D.
B. Willard?
Yep.
Okay.
At SasquatchWatch.net.
SasquatchWatch.net. Okay.
Yep. And I will get right back with you on that. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, Craig, Monica, DB, we've run out of time.
Well, that
happened again.
Happens again. Happens all the time, doesn't it? Well, Craig, Monica, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you,
we
Billy.
Really appreciate it. And everyone, next week we're going to have Bart Nunley from Kentucky on. He's the author of Mysterious Kentucky. We'll have him on next week, so join us at 9 o'clock next Monday. And thank you, DB. Thank you, Monica. And thank you, Craig.
Thanks, DB and Billy, for having us on.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you guys. Great show.
Thanks a lot.